been a while since I've done a video. Welcome back, everybody. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Glad you are here. If you have been around for a while, we're going to talk about something that I talk about often, and it is related to ADHD. But today I'm not going to talk about it necessarily in relation to myself, as much as talking to those of you who are considered family or friends of somebody who has ADHD. This video is going to be all about how to support and love and even manage sometimes the person that you adore and love who has ADHD. This is my voice, this is what I find is helpful, and this is what I want to share. The first thing I think is so important is that we want you to believe that ADHD is real. I know this day and age that ADHD, ADD, and all of that can be overdiagnosed, but there still is some legitimacy to this, and we just want you to know that this isn't just us being lazy, us making up excuses, but there really is something inside of our brains that makes certain day-to-day things a little bit more difficult. Just take a moment to really learn about ADHD and what it means. The best thing for me was when I got tested for ADHD, actually Paul also got tested. I was certain that he had ADHD also, but he said that this has been such a helpful thing for him because when he got tested, he learned so much about the way that my brain works. It helped him have a better understanding of what's really going on inside of my head. Poor guy, because there's a whole lot going on. Ask your spouse or your friend or whoever it is that you love who has ADHD just to talk a bit about it, to learn a little bit more what it is like inside of their brains. The second thing that we want you to know is often we are run by our emotions. I can often find myself so engrossed in my own emotions that I get caught up constantly thinking through things and overanalyzing and overthinking. Honestly, the best way for me to work through a lot of those emotions is to talk about it or to write it all down. Once I can get it all out and sort through what I'm feeling, it often helps me feel better. There is a lot about our feelings and our emotions that can really dictate our mood. The third thing that we want you to know is to please not ignore or poo-poo our anxiety. This is a very real thing for me. For myself, when I really felt like I needed to search a little bit more into this whole ADHD realm was when I found I was having all of this anxiety, but I really knew it wasn't just generalized anxiety. There was something more driving it. And for me, when I have my ADHD managed, the anxiety just sort of calms down. I don't know if this is for everybody, but for me, when there's so many things happening around me, when I have toys everywhere and I have 4 kids that need help and I have to get dinner on the table, but I have to be out of the house by 6 o'clock to get another one to soccer practice, my anxiety is heightened because I feel like I'm trying to sort through all of this in my head, and it's hard for me and it makes me anxious because I don't even know where really to start with it all. Ask your significant other to communicate with you when their anxiety is setting in. Paul has become very familiar with how to help me manage this, and I have become really good at sharing with him when I'm not doing so well and when the anxiety is getting high. His phrase that he automatically will throw out there is, "Did you take your meds today?" He knows that taking medication for my ADHD has been super helpful for me in managing my ADHD, thus managing my anxiety, but I had to communicate all of this to him, and he just knows what things he can do to step in and help. Anxiety that we can feel is paralyzing because we have all this stuff we have to get done, but we don't know where to begin, so often we just don't do anything, which makes us feel even more anxious. I'm telling you, we're very complicated up in our heads. The best thing that you can do is try to understand what specifically is causing this anxiety and then step in from there to see how you can help. The fourth thing that you can do to support us and help us is to understand hyperfocus. This, I think, can be so frustrating for someone who doesn't truly understand ADHD. ADHD, we talk about you can't pay attention to things, scatterbrain, squirrel, all that stuff, right? But there's this interesting side of it called hyperfocus. And let me explain this a little bit. Do you ever find that the person you know who has ADHD can just become so engrossed in a project and spend hours and tons of time and almost a little bit obsessed about what they're doing that you're like, hello, there's other things that need to be done, like the laundry, or this outside the house has to be taken care of, or we need to get out of the house on time. So it can be really frustrating if you don't understand hyperfocus because you think, well, how come you're focusing so much on that, but you can't even get the house picked up? I am not making an excuse though, because hyperfocus is not a good reason to not complete your responsibilities. For me personally, my brain needs constant stimulation. That was one of the things that I learned when I was tested for ADHD, that when my brain doesn't have constant stimulation, it actually doesn't function as well. So if something is not stimulating to my brain, I get a little bit lethargic and bored, and then I don't really want to do anything. The more stimulated my brain is, the more excited I am, the better I handle tasks as they come. So when there are tasks that I have to do that are not stimulating to my brain, I might find something that is stimulating to my brain and immerse myself totally in that. I love to crochet, and there would be days I found myself with a new crochet pattern, and I would crochet all day long. And I would carry the yarn with me everywhere I went in this new pattern. And then my husband would come home from work and look at me, and I would have this beautiful new crochet project completed. And there would be laundry that I'd restarted a couple times in the washing machine, or I hadn't even started dinner yet. And the best thing that Paul did to keep me accountable, but still realize that that was something important for me, he said, Betsy, before you start to crochet, can you complete this task first? That was the best thing he could have said, because he didn't say, you need to stop doing this. He acknowledged that that was something important for me, but also kept me accountable for what I have committed to being in charge of in the house. My best advice is to not dismiss what they're doing, acknowledge it's important, but also keep them accountable for what they've committed to. This next one is important. We want you to know that we so badly want to complete tasks. Completing tasks might come super easy for you, but that doesn't mean it will come easy for us. There is a part of executive functioning involved in that we might struggle with. My husband loves to have a clean garage, and he likes to have it picked up, and he will say, let's get started on this. And mentally for me, I have to get myself ready and in the zone to think about, I'm gonna tackle this project. Where mentally it's exhausting. I have to really get my brain focused in to move forward on that project, where he could easily go in there, clean up, pick up, feel good about it. It exhausts me. The best thing that you can do when it comes to completing tasks is even just to offer to do it with us, to help us do it. I know that that might not necessarily be your responsibility, but if you're willing to help out, please say, hey, can we do this together? I find for myself that when I have somebody to do a task with, I'm more likely to stay on task. But for two, it's even just a way to spend time with us. The next way that you can be helpful and supportive of someone that you love who has ADHD, honestly, believe in our ability to achieve. We are our own worst critics. One of the most empowering things for me was when I realized I could actually be a successful business owner, because I thought that those kind of things were only reserved for people that were super organized, who had everything in order, who were really great at completing their task list. And while these things are really helpful for business owners, I realized that. I think for me to realize I could also do that, and actually having ADHD has been an asset to being a business owner, has been empowering. There is a huge part of my success I attribute to ADHD. I think it has been helpful, but there's definitely been parts of my ADHD that have hindered it and have been tough for me to manage. Having my husband tell me, you can do this, and I'm gonna help you do this, I believe in you because you have the ability to be successful, is so helpful for me. Sometimes we just need somebody to believe that we can achieve something, because often we don't believe we can. Last thing I think is really important to share, and I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way, but we just want you to know that we feel bad. There's a lot of shame and guilt, and we feel like we are letting people down a lot. I feel like a disappointment sometimes, and not because Paul makes me feel this way. I feel like a disappointment when I don't have certain things done that I've committed to doing. I feel like I'm that parent when I lose something that was supposed to be sent back to school, or I send in this paper late, or I wasn't on top of that. There's a lot of shame and guilt that can come along with having ADHD. We know what has to be done. We know there's deadlines. We know there's things that have to be picked up because it's mismanaged. For me, there's guilt when I know I mismanaged my time and I know how to manage my time. So I feel guilty and I feel like I'm letting people down. So just know we care. And sometimes I think it can be easy to assume we just don't care about this. We don't really care how that affects them, and that's not the case. We care. We want to be different. We want things in our heads to operate differently. And that being said, don't let us use ADHD as an excuse. I think that can happen easily. Like, I can't do that because I have ADHD. I will say it's more difficult for me to do these things because I have ADHD, but that is not a reason to not do things, to not complete tasks, to not show up on time. Help keep us accountable, but most importantly, the best way you can support us is to let us know you love us, to let us know you value us, because sometimes we don't feel valuable, that you see gifts in us. We care. And I know sometimes it doesn't seem like we do, but I know I care and I want to do better. And when I don't, I feel a lot of guilt and shame. And I think that a lot of people feel that way. Thank you so much. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. And I am thinking through about possibly having Paul come in a video with me and sort of doing a Q&A. If you think that would be awesome, comment down below. Let me know which questions that you think I should ask him. And if you are somebody who loves somebody with ADHD and you're like, dude, help me out. Or if you are someone who has ADHD and you just want to ask him, hey, what kinds of things were helpful for you that Betsy has shared and Betsy has done? Don't forget to embrace all those imperfections and love yourself. And if you're someone that loves another who has ADHD, embrace their imperfections and always remind them that you love them.